Hey there, Year 11s. We are now going to do example 1 and example 2 together. Let's have a look here. We're going to use indices or index laws. We're going to do A, example 1A. We've got 2 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 12. We know when the indices have the same bases and you're multiplying, you can add the powers. So 3 plus 12. And that gives me 2 to the power of 15. Moving on to B, example B, same thing. We've got now x to the power of 2 times y to the power of 3 multiplied to x to the power of 4 times y. I personally like to keep all the x's together, so x squared times x to the power of 4 will be adding the powers and then multiplying that to y cubed multiplied to y, which is adding a power of 1. So this now gives me x to the power of 6 times y to the power of 4, which we would traditionally write as x to the power of 6 and y to the power of 4. In example C, this is very similar as well, except instead of having powers that are numerical, then in our case here we can say again, bases are the same, so you would be adding the powers together. So 2 to the power of x multiplied to 2 to the power of x plus 2. This is the same thing as writing 2 to the power of x plus 2. Okay, and that now gives me 2 to the power of 2x plus 2. And then finally, as part of example 1D, you now have 3a squared b cubed multiplied to 4a cubed b cubed. Using indices, we're going to collect all the numbers and letters together. So I like to write it as 3 times the 4. So numbers with numbers. And then times with a squared times a cubed. Times with b cubed times b cubed. So that way I'm keeping all the numbers together, all the a's together, and all the b's together. So that way I can say, using index law number 1, we know that 3 times 4, which is already 12, but law number 1 says if the bases are the same, you add the powers. So it's times a to the power 2 plus 3 times b to the power 3 plus 3. So together, this now gives me 12a5 and then b6. Okay, so that's how you would do example 1. Now let's have a look at example 2 over here. Example 2, very similar. We've got A, and it says here we've got x to the power of 4 and y cubed, all divided by x squared times y squared. And in this case here, it's all about division. So another way to look at it is you can write it as x to the power of 4 divided by means you're going to subtract the powers, so minus 2. And again, remember, x next to a y means times, so I'm going to put the times there, and this means times as well. So this means I'm timesing by y to the power of 3 minus 2, and this gives me x squared y1, which you can leave it as y. Looking at part B, we've got b to the power of 4x times with b to the power of x plus 1 all over b to the power of 2x. And I like to write them all in one go here. When you multiply them, you add the power, so it'll be b to the power of 4x plus, and what am I adding? I'm adding the x plus 1. Notice I'm using the brackets to remind myself what I'm doing, because I'm doing it all in one go. And when you divide, so the symbol here means divide, then you subtract the powers, right? Because they all have the same base of b, so I'm going to subtract 2x. So putting them all together, that now becomes b to the power of 4x plus x is 5x, and then minus 2x is 3x actually. So that becomes 3x, and then don't forget you've still got the plus 1 there. Okay, so that's example B, and then now let's do example C. I'm just probably going to make this a bit smaller just so I can fit in C in the same section. So let's try this one. Let's just move this and make it a bit smaller. And now let's do C. Whoops. There we go. C. C says that we have 16a5b multiplied to 4a to the power of 4b cubed, all divided by 8ab. So again, in this particular scenario, I would keep all the numbers together. So I'd write it as 16 times 4 divided by 8. Remember, they're all actually multiplying to each other. It's a 16 times that, a times a times b. So because they're all timesing, I can actually just split the fractions up and say times, and I keep all the a's together. So a to the power of 5 times a to the power of 4 all over a, and then times, keep all the b's together, b times b cubed divided by b. See what I'm doing there? I'm keeping all the numbers, all the a's and all the b's together. So here we can say, cross simplify, 16 divided by 8 is 2, 2 times 4 is 8. So I've got 8 multiplied 2, and here we can work it out as a to the power of 5 plus 4, but minus 1. That's because the power here is 1. And then multiplied to b to the power of 1 plus 3, take away 1. Okay? And that now gives me my final answer as 8a 8, b to the power of 3. There you go. So that's how I would have done that particular problem there. I'm just going to make this a bit smaller just so it fits nicely. And there you go. That's example 1 and example 2.